One day, a young team began to worry about what was happening around the world and discovered that in Europe was the introduction of euro in 12 European countries, and in Argentina entered an unprecedented economic crisis. Meanwhile, in Russia, Vladimir Putin was elected president. But what surprised him most was that in Brazil, his country of origin, was the very big problem of insecurity in mobile information, for which he proposed to create a company that solved this problem, which he calls as his name, TIM. He realized that he had to analyze various factors. TIM needed to find a solution that would allow him to respond to incidents of insecurity and improve customer service. Tim was very happy because he already knew what his business was going to focus on. But speaking with an expert, he realized that not only should he focus on those aspects, but also on aspects that could affect the company's development, such as economic, cultural, political, legal, and technological factors. In his research, he found that talking about his culture, the majority of Brazilians are of Europe or African descent. Other cultures that had significantly influenced its culture include Germans, Italians, and Japanese. Perhaps this is where his big love for pizza and his little eyes come from. Now it makes sense! On the political side, Tim learned that Brazil is a federal republic based on a parliamentary democracy with a constitution that gives extensive powers to the government. And about legal factors, Tim read that the principal source of Brazilian civil law is the Civil Code, which dates from 2002, and subsequent legislation. He found funny that the Civil Code is younger than he is. In the technology file, Tim found out that the greatest challenge in Brazil has been in designing and implementing a long-term policy to enable scientific and technological development to reach the population in order to improve life quality. But the thing that surprised him the most was that he learned about his country economy. One thing he found very useful was learning about the free trade agreements existing in Brazil. For example, Mercosur is a really powerful threat and it really improves the Brazilian economy. Tim also read about clusters and how most of the Brazilian technology clusters are concentrated in the southern and southeastern regions of the country, and they are often called the Brazilian Silicon Valley. Isn't it funny? In 2010, there were only 10 clusters, and nowadays the number has grown to 28. Some of those are Parque Tecnológico, UFRG, Vale Electrónica, and Tecnopub, and some others. Tim also learned that Brazil's major economic sectors are all well developed, and that the service sector represents over 70% of Brazilian GDP and employs over 3/4 of the active workforce, making the tertiary sector the strongest in the country. Also, at the primary sector, Brazil is the world's largest producer of coffee, sugarcane, and oranges, and is one of the world's largest producers of soy, and at least but not last, the secondary sector is the world's second largest exporter of iron and one of the world's main producers of aluminium and coal. Tim now has a wider vision of his own country, which he thought he knew very well. But after talking with an expert, he realized that there is always something new to learn and that you should not settle for the knowledge that you have. Tim also got to know that Brazilians as a nation focus much importance on the family structure and the values that are ingrained with that institution. Families are usually large, which he quickly recognizes as his own situation, knowing his family is really big, but he loves it that way. He even made a list of a few tips that he could give to foreign business persons who would like to make business with him in the future. When invited to dinner or an event, do not underdress. It is considered more appropriate to overdress than to appear too casual in appearance. Always brings the hostess a small gift of gratitude, such as a glass of wine or some fresh flowers. Avoid giving anyone a gift that is black or purple, as this is perceived as mourning colors. always arrive early for events and dinners. In business, Brazilians tend to deal with individuals, not companies. Now Tim is ready to start his own business and he's excited for it. One thing is really clear for Tim. Brazil's economic and social progress between 2003 and 2014 left 29 million people out of poverty, and inequality dropped significantly. To achieve higher growth in the medium term, raising productivity and competitiveness is a crucial challenge from Brazil, in which Tim is really counting on participate with and make a difference.